You will very quickly find the computer one of the most useful and time-saving features on the Kenyon tonneau frame. Once a standard operating procedure, an SOP, for a given fabric has been entered into the computer as a production recipe, you will be able to simply call up that recipe at any time in the future when you want to run that specific fabric or any fabric under those specific conditions. This will eliminate the need to re-enter the operational data into the computer. And should you have microspeed 196 controls on your frame, you will not have to manually enter data on them. Not all Kenyon tonneau frames will have manual controls, but they will have the emergency stop, normal stop, start, and run speed buttons, plus necessary toggle switches. Even though you may have a touch screen monitor, we will use the mouse and its arrow to help you follow our actions better. Now let's take a look at how the computer works on the Kenyon tonneau frame. Let's say that you have just returned from vacation, or that for some reason the computer has been turned off, or there may have been a major power failure. In any case, the computer must be restarted. When you turn the computer power switch to on, the computer will go through a boot up process. It will go through and check out the hardware, and then a boot up of the operating system itself. When we zoom in, you can see a little bit of what the screen says. We will zoom in on the screen often as we go through this training tape so that you can better see how to use the tonneau frame controls. These are high-end computers, and we want to be sure that you don't turn them off without properly logging them off first. This screen says Microsoft Windows NT, and that we have two system processors with 64 megs of memory. We are now at the log on screen, so we will zoom in so you can see the log on box a little better. In the blue title bar, we see begin log on. The instructions in the gray area says to press Control plus Alt plus Delete to log on. That means they all three must be pressed at approximately the same time, like this: Control, Alt, Delete, press. We will center this box. It's the log on information box. It says to enter a username and password that is valid for this system. Everyone will use T-frame for their username and T-frame as the password to log on. Your personal user ID and password are not to be used here. As the domain, we're using Ponderosa. Notice that the T-frame has a capital T. The username and password sections of the log on are case sensitive. That means they must have a capital T and lowercase frame. I'll type in the password now, a capital T with a lowercase frame. Note that as we type that in, little stars appear. It's a password, and this adds a little extra security to the system. Upon completing that, you can move the mouse to the OK button and press OK with the left mouse button. A single click will do. Should your computer screen be touch sensitive, you may touch the screen button with your finger. We will use the mouse. Now the machine is actually logging you on as the tonneau frame controls are booting up, and you can see the control screen in the background. The title bar of this box asks that you please wait, looking for a partner computer. This may take a minute or two. Please be patient. It's important that you are patient. What the computer is doing at this time is checking to see if the rear computer is turned on. And through its network lines, it will establish that the front computer is the one in control. We do not want both computers in control at the same time, although you can make value changes from either at the same time. Right now, we do not have the rear computer turned on, and this computer is checking the serial lines, the ones that go to the actual motors and drive controls of the tenor frame. As you see, a message appears on the screen that says error 100. The partner computer was not found over the network. Check to see that it is turned on and that a user is logged on. Please wait while a check of the communications lines is made. This will take about 30 seconds. Let's take this message apart and see what it actually means. The partner computer was not found over the network. As we said earlier, this first computer, which was turned on, is looking for its partner, the second computer. And we have not turned it on as yet. It won't find it, and therefore this message popped up. The third and fourth lines say check to see if it's turned on and that a user is logged on. We don't need to do that, since we already know that the second computer has not been turned on. The fifth and sixth lines ask us to please wait while a check of the communications lines is made. When we press the OK button below, the computer is going to look on its serial communications lines. These are different from the network lines. The network lines connect the two computers directly. The serial lines are used to communicate with all of the devices which control temperatures, widths, motor speeds, fan speeds, and any other devices which may be on your tenor frame. Both computers are connected serially to these devices, and both computers can listen to what is being said back to the computers upon a query. What will happen is that if this network line is broken and the other computer is then in control, this computer will listen to the serial communications lines to hear if the other computer is talking. If it is, this computer knows that the network connection is broken somehow, and yet the serial communication lines are still working. This is a double check to ensure that both computers cannot be in control at the same time. If that were to occur, we would have unpredicted results. It takes about 30 seconds for this check to occur, and I'm going to press the OK button now. Remember that should you have a touch screen, you may elect to use your finger and touch the OK button as it is positioned on your screen. By moving the mouse hour to the OK button and clicking once on the left mouse button, you see the hour is replaced with an hourglass, which will remain for about 30 seconds while the program boots up. When the arrow reappears, you will be ready for production. The computer is now booted up and ready for the operator's use. It is very important that you remember that just turning off the power to the computer without the proper shutdown procedure being followed can and will corrupt the data on the computer. It will take a long time for it to repair itself upon being booted up again, if it is even able to do that. Sometimes, when it's able to do it, it is not able to do it completely. We can't stress enough how important it is to follow the proper shutdown procedure. First, move the arrow to the File menu and click left on it. Move down to the Exit button and click on it. This window pops up saying that shutdown is in progress. That tells the other computer to take control and begin scanning the devices and displaying the actual values. Notice that this has brought us back to the Begin Log-On screen. Let's zoom in. As we said at the beginning of this tape, you must press Control-Alt-Delete to log on. Let's do that now. We have the Log On information screen. This time, rather than logging on, we're going to move the mouse arrow to the Shutdown button and click left one time. The Shutdown computer window just popped up, and the message says, "Shutting down now will end your Windows NT session and prepare your computer to be turned off." If I wanted to reboot the machine, I would simply click on the Shutdown and Restart button. But since we want to actually shut the machine down, we will go to the Shutdown button and left-click on the mouse one time. The Shutdown in Progress window says, "Please wait while the system writes unsaved data to the disk." The Shutdown Complete window pops up and says, "It is now safe to turn off your computer." You could at this point press Restart if you wanted to restart the machine. Under no conditions should you shut down the computer using any procedure other than this one. To do so would damage the program. Remember, you are in control of the computer, and the computer is in control of the Kenyon tenor frame.